Hi, Rashid, Kapadia here, with a tip from a book on a Monday, a book I can scarcely believe even exists. It's called the Kennedy-Khrushchev Letters. Now, in the 1960s, when President Kennedy was in power, the United States and the Soviet Union were mortal enemies. Yet, as a top secret, unknown to anyone, from the day Kennedy got elected, Khrushchev, the Soviet leader, wrote him a letter, and they maintained a private correspondence because they did not want to just be misled by what was going on in the world. They wanted to hear from each other directly. It is a remarkable book, 120 letters. They took more than 40 years to even reveal their existence. So you get a read directly into the minds of these leaders. And probably the most dangerous moment that this world has ever lived through is October 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis. And it had become so bad that nuclear annihilation was a very real possibility. And at this time, they kept writing letters to each other. It's instructive to read, to understand how they were thinking. Of course, they were accusing each other. But here's what Khrushchev wrote in one letter at the peak of the crisis to Kennedy, thinking that here's another provocative move. Mr. President, if you did this as a first step towards the unleashing of war, well then it is evident that there is nothing else left for us to do but to accept your challenge. If, however, you have not lost your self-control and you sensibly conceive what this might lead to, then, Mr. President, we and you ought not to pull on the ends of a rope in which you have tied the knot of war. Because the more the two of us pull, that tighter that knot will be tied. And a moment may come when that knot will be tied so tight that even he who has tied it will not have the strength to untie that knot. And then it will be necessary for us to cut that knot. And what this would mean is not for me to explain to you. Because you yourself understand perfectly what terrible forces our countries possess. So, really a very insightful statement. The situation was like this. The escalation had gone on, and now both the leaders just wanted a way to get out of it. But I can't help thinking how apt this terminology is for all conflict, even at a personal level. What we do is we keep pulling and pulling and pulling on knots. And eventually they get so tight that we cannot untie them and we have to cut them. A good reminder for us, because we all get involved in conflict. Be careful of how much you pull on that knot, because a day may come when we don't have the strength to untie it. Lessons from history's greatest crisis. Good luck.